Out in the dusty heart of Australia, a poor farm kid was told he'd never make it. But instead of giving up, he made a promise under the southern stars, a promise that would carry him from the outback to a life beyond the horizon. This is his story. The spark in the dust. The morning sun crept slowly across the endless stretches of the Australian outback, painting the red earth with shades of gold. In a small rural town on the edge of Queensland, a boy named Liam Carter stood outside his family's modest farmhouse. His boots were dusty, his shirt faded from years of hand-me-down wear, but his eyes carried a fire that not even the harsh summer heat could dull. Liam's father was a shearer, known for his hard work and honesty, while his mother worked double shifts at a small cafe in town. They weren't wealthy, but they were proud. What they lacked in money, they made up for in determination and deep family values. From a young age, Liam had been fascinated by stories of people who had made it. He'd sit under gum trees, listening to tales of battlers who turned into champions. But Liam's life wasn't easy. School didn't come naturally to him. While other kids breezed through maths or science, he struggled to keep up. His teachers often told him he needed to work harder than the rest. Worse still, classmates mocked him for shabby clothes and farm chores. One afternoon, after being teased again for being the poor farm kid, Liam sat on the veranda, fists clenched in frustration. His father noticed the storm inside his son and quietly sat down beside him. "Son," his father said, placing a rough hand on Liam's shoulder, "don't ever let anyone tell you what you can't do. Life out here is tough, but it forges strong hearts. The ones who rise are not the ones with the easiest path, but the ones who refuse to quit walking." Those words struck deep in Liam's heart. That night, under the southern stars glittering above, he made a silent promise to himself. "No matter how hard it gets, I won't stop trying. I'll prove to everyone, and to myself, that I can rise." Little did he know, this promise would become the foundation of his journey, a journey that would test his endurance and belief in himself. The first spark had been lit in the dust of the outback, and sparks, when fueled with determination, could set entire horizons ablaze. Miles in the outback. The weeks rolled on, and Liam began to take his silent promise seriously. Every dawn before heading to school, he woke up an hour earlier to finish chores. He fed the chooks, carried water, and helped his dad with the sheep. Exhausted most mornings, he still carried his father's words like armor. At school, the challenges didn't disappear. His classmates laughed when he stumbled over reading aloud. They sneered when he turned in assignments late, knowing he had been working in the paddocks until dark. Yet Liam refused to back down. Instead of letting teasing break him, he began using it as fuel. He started sitting in the library during lunch breaks, pushing himself through textbooks that once felt impossible. When he didn't understand something, he asked questions, even if it meant being mocked by others. Slowly, his teachers began to notice the change. He wasn't the brightest student, but he was the hardest worker. One day, Mrs. Anderson, his science teacher, pulled him aside. "You may not see it now, Liam, but persistence will take you far. Most kids give up when things get hard. You keep showing up, and that's rare." Her words lit another spark inside him. But life was still harsh in the outback. A drought hit, drying the grass and weakening the animals. His father worked extra shearing jobs, his mother double shifts. Liam felt the heavy weight of responsibility. He even thought of quitting school to work full-time. But his mother stopped him firmly one evening. "You've got a fire in you, love. Don't waste it before it burns bright." Those words sealed his decision. No matter how rough things became, he wouldn't let go of his dream. Small victories began to appear in his journey. He passed his exams, barely, but he passed. He even entered a regional essay competition and earned a commendation for his heartfelt writing on rural resilience. For the first time, Liam felt pride in achievement, tasting what it meant to turn effort into results. The drought still lingered, the bullies didn't vanish, and doubts still gnawed at him in the dark. But something inside had shifted forever. He was no longer the boy who believed he couldn't. He was becoming the young man who knew he could. The trials of the outback were shaping him, just as the wind and sun shaped the rugged land. And with every challenge, his determination grew stronger, preparing him for battles far greater than he could yet imagine. Breaking the barriers. By the time Liam turned 17, The dusty roads of his small town no longer felt suffocating. He had grown taller, stronger, and more confident, but his journey was still climbing uphill. School was ending, and the question of what next loomed. Most classmates planned to head to Brisbane or take up trades. For Liam, the decision wasn't simple. His family still struggled financially, and city life felt impossible. One afternoon, while mending a broken fence with his dad, Liam admitted his fears about affording university. His father looked him straight in the eyes. "Money builds walls, son. Determination breaks them down." Those words echoed in Liam's head for days. He realized the real question wasn't about money, but whether he was willing to fight for his dream. So he began taking action immediately. He applied for scholarships and filled forms late at night while working weekends at the local service station. Rejections poured in, one after another, but he refused to stop trying. Then one crisp winter morning, a letter arrived. It carried the university crest, and his hands shook as he opened it. Inside was the message that changed his life. He had earned a partial scholarship in Brisbane. That night, his family gathered at the kitchen table. Tears welled in his mother's eyes, pride shone on his father's weathered face, and hope finally felt within reach. But stepping into the city was another challenge. Brisbane was loud, fast, and overwhelming. His classmates wore expensive clothes and spoke with confidence, while Liam juggled part-time jobs just to afford rent. Old insecurities crept back into his mind. "Maybe I don't belong here," doubts whispered. But persistence was stronger than doubt. He leaned into the strengths that once embarrassed him. Professors noticed the raw honesty in his essays. His presentations carried authenticity, not polish. In his second year, he was elected student representative. For the first time, Liam spoke to hundreds with steady confidence. He shared his vision of equal opportunities for rural students. The applause that followed wasn't just for his speech, it was for his journey and resilience. Step by step, Liam was breaking barriers. The financial ones, the social ones, and most importantly, the mental ones within himself. The boy who once doubted his place in the world was becoming the man who believed he could change it. The horizon beyond. Years passed, and the shy boy from the outback grew into a young man. He graduated with honors, not from talent, but from persistence and never giving up. Every late-night shift and rejection had shaped him. After graduation, he was offered a leadership role, helping young Australians in rural communities. For Liam, it wasn't just a job. It was a chance to give back to his roots. When he returned to his hometown, the streets felt smaller, but his heart was bigger. The kids who once mocked him now admired him. He stood in his old classroom, ready to inspire. He told students about dusty mornings and teasing, about droughts, rejections, and nights of doubt. But above all, he spoke of persistence. The act of not quitting when quitting seemed easier. "Your background doesn't decide your future," he said. "It's your will to keep moving forward. I wasn't born with privilege or wealth, but grit carried me beyond the horizon." The room fell silent, then applause thundered. Teachers smiled with pride. Students whispered with new hope. A boy in a worn jumper lifted his head higher. Over the years, Liam built initiatives for rural youth. Scholarships, mentorships, and opportunities grew. He traveled between the city and the outback, carrying the same fire in his heart. Despite achievements, he never forgot his roots. He still sat under gum trees when home, remembering the promise he once made, beneath the same southern stars. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, his father sat beside him, older and proud. "You've done it, son. You kept walking," he said. And look, Liam smiled at the fading light. "The horizon never ends, Dad," he replied. "There's always further to go." And he knew success was a journey, not a place. The boy who once felt small had become a man who lit fires in others. As long as people kept walking, refusing to give up, the horizon would always open wider with possibility.